Welcome back, Soulmates. Again, thank you for joining us this Monday afternoon or evening, depending on where you're watching from. Let's tap back into our stories of the day. We have an update to a story we first brought you last week in the disappearance of Kayla Kelly. Her body was found in a shallow grave in a wooded area in Grand Prairie, Texas, less than a mile from the house of the man police believe is connected to her death. O'Caster Ferguson is being held in jail for kidnapping after investigators learned that he used a fake name and lied about being married while the two were dating. Ferguson is also charged with arson after Kelly's car was found burned on a country road in the Frisco area. The family of Tyree Nichols is set to review body camera footage today before it's released to the public. 5 Memphis police officers have now been fired after the 29-year-old was pulled over and died 3 days later. His family has accused police of beating Nichols, breaking his neck, causing him to have a heart attack. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is looking into whether the officers' actions were criminal in nature. And following the deaths of several teens, Atlanta's Public Safety Committee is looking into curfew changes for Atlanta's youth. Right now, the curfew is 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. on weekdays and midnight to 6 a.m. on weekends. Council wants to change it to 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. on weekdays. Mayor Dickens spoke out about the recent deaths during an interview over the weekend. We're told current exceptions for the curfew, like work hours, would remain in place. The full council is set to meet in 2 weeks. And lastly here, it's a story of shared struggles for Black mayors as New York City Mayor Eric Adams, LA Mayor Karen Bass, and Houston's Mayor Sylvester Turner recently sat down for a network interview, saying their cities may be spread across the country, but Turner, Adams, and Bass are grappling with similar problems and challenges. Now, for Turner and Adams, it's all about public safety, while Bass says she's confronting homelessness. All three applauded, however, the immigration plan put forth by the Biden administration earlier this month. Decorder Live.
Thanks, Courtney. Now off to the motherland, where there are reports that the Nigerian health authorities have confirmed an outbreak of diphtheria. In addition, a reported 25 people have died, most of them children. The agency's head said in a statement the total number of confirmed cases and deaths is not yet known. Nigeria's Center for Disease Control and Prevention has initiated an emergency response to the outbreak. The CDC is also monitoring the situation in 4 of the nation's 36 states.
The annual Selma Celebration that commemorates the fight for voting rights will go forward in March despite the tornado damage to the city. In a news release, founders of the annual celebration said in light of the massive devastation in Selma, the event is needed now more than ever, and that the bridge crossing Jubilee will take place from March 2nd through the 5th. The annual event remembers Bloody Sunday, the March 7th, 1965 day when white state troopers attacked Black voting rights marchers attempting to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
It looks like London is having a racial reckoning when it comes to statues and street names, just like us right here in the United States. According to the BBC, a street in North London is to be officially renamed due to concerns about the racial connotations of its current name. Black Boy Lane in Tottenham will now be called LaRose Lane after the black publisher John LaRose. It is among several roads and buildings across London to be renamed following Black Lives Matter protest.
And for the next several months, the African American Museum of Dallas will be home to Black Cowboys and American history, which highlights the history of Black Cowboys in Texas and really across the country. Now, the free exhibit displays pictures, artifacts, documents, and films that provide insight into the untold stories of Black men, women, and children enslaved and free who worked on ranches and took part in cattle drives. The deputy director and chief operations officer at the African American Museum of Dallas wants visitors to walk away with new knowledge about the contributions made by Black cowboys during the time before the Civil War and through the turn of the 20th century.
The Honorable Judge John Guidry was recently sworn in as the first Black chief judge in the First Circuit Court of Appeals of Louisiana in more than 100 years. The First Circuit is one of 5 Louisiana appellate courts and is in East Baton Rouge Parish. It serves 16 parishes in Louisiana. Guidry served in the Louisiana legislature as a representative for District 67 and a senator for District 14. A few years later, he was elected to the First Circuit Court of Appeals.
All right, you might have seen this play out across social media. I know I did over the weekend. Pro Football Hall of Fame safety Ed Reed has walked away from Bethune-Cookman, making it clear he wasn't leaving on his own accord. The coach was in tears Saturday following a 15-minute goodbye in front of players, parents, and even Deion Sanders. The Ed Reed Foundation announced on social media that the university declined to ratify Reed's contract and, quote, won't make good on the agreement we had in principle, which had provisions and resources best needed to support the student athletes. That's the end of that quote. Now, the decision came less than a week after Reed trashed the school in a profanity-laced social media post that, of course, went viral. He accused Bethune-Cookman of having a dirty campus and failing to clean his office before he arrived. He threatened to leave then, saying he was having to clear out trash while not even being under contract. And we talked about his rant and how disappointed he was with the condition of the campus and his office not being clean before he arrived on campus. I had a chance to look at that 15-minute apology. It did involve Deion as it was on live, and they brought Deion up while Ed was in front of the players addressing his departure, which he did not want to do, as we reported. And the latest to this story is that those players from Bethune-Cookman have petitioned the school to bring him back. So they want to see him as a coach. I understand his points. I think they were very valid. I think he went about it the wrong way.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And it's not what he said. It was certainly how he said it.
How he said it and did it. Yeah.
And you know, that is not, you know, the model of how you do things, especially when your contract is up for renegotiation. Mm-hmm. You know, that's probably the worst time, you know, to pick a fight, you know, with your boss. Mm-hmm. And, you know, remember, this is a place of higher education. Mm-hmm. And so we've got to hold our professors and our coaches to a higher standard, because what they're also doing is modeling for the student athletes what is acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Now, I would have liked for them to, you know, maybe sanction him, mm-hmm. you know, but, you know, stop short of letting him go. But, you know, we'll continue to follow this. You know, this is a very cautionary tale to folks out there. But I also think
you have to hold school officials and administrators responsible for making sure that those environments are safe and clean and conducive to these young people learning. I know Howard University, the Mecca, had some issues with housing. We just talked about how Tennessee State University is getting money from that legislature to help revitalize that mm-hmm. campus, if you will. So, you know, if you want to talk about blame, you know, you can lay it at plenty of different folks' feet when it comes to, you know, the education and just the holistic approach to, you know, being responsible to, you know, bringing up a mm-hmm. human being, you know, in this world so they can be productive professional adults. Yeah,
and again, not what he said,
it's how he said
but how he said it.
Yeah, but if what he was saying was true with the trash and things of that nature, it sounds like Bethune-Cookman and maybe other HBCUs, as the comments alluded to, have some work to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, with him or whoever's next.
That's right.
But coming up next, the world's highest paid female athlete is a sister.
Oh, she is on fire. Can you guess who? We're going to let you know on the other side. Stay close. You're watching FOXSOUL's Black Report.